Hello, and welcome back to What is Cyrus reading this week? This is week 16, 17, or 15, 16, I believe. I know we're getting up there. I guess expect something big for the 20-week special, maybe? I don't know. But anyways, let's just start it right off. First up, we got Superman, Trials of the Super Sons. So, if you know Super Sons, you know it's Jonathan Kent and Damian Wayne. They are the son of Batman and the son of Superman, respectively. So this is, I believe, the first time Damian meet. Yeah, it's the first time Damian Wayne and John Kent meet, and also it's the Dinosaur Island storyline as well as the Frankenstein storyline. That was like 2 issues. There were each respectively 2 issues. The Super Sons one was, I think, 3 or 4. So, all in all, those were 3 very good stories that I completely recommend reading. The Super Sons, obviously, is Damian Wayne and John Kent meeting and them going on a little adventure. Dinosaur Island is Superman gets transported into either the past or just like transported away. They haven't really made it clear. I believe it's the past, but to an island that's filled with dinosaurs and this like World War II veteran. And the final one is Frankenstein comes, and there's this lady that's an alien, and then there's his bride, and that one's a weird story, but the other 2 are really good. So I give this a solid, like, 8 out of 10. Anything with the Super Sons is really good, so I'd recommend picking it up. Alright, next up we got Batman, Volume 10, Nightmares. So when I picked this up, I saw Nightmare spelled with a K, and my first thought was the Arkham Knight, because he was now in DC continuity. I don't remember since when. I think it was after this, now that I think about it, but I was thinking, oh, an Arkham Knight story, that'd be pretty interesting with the current Batman, and see how that goes. It's not, so don't go into that expecting this. Instead, this is Batman going through, like, fever dreams before he goes to face his dad and Bane. So it's like he's having these nightmares about Selina Kyle and his villains and his family. And I mean, it's Tom King's run, which was, if I'm gonna be honest, not my favorite. So this fits right in there, and I was like, ah. So I give this solid like 5 out of 10. It felt short to read, but besides that, there's not much in here that was worth reading. Yeah, 5 out of 10. Maybe pick it up if you've read the rest. I mean, if you've read the rest, I'm sorry for you, because it's just a long way. All right, next up, Batman Beyond, The Eradication Agenda. So this one's following 2 storylines. I believe it's 2, yes. Cool. So the first one is set in current Batman Beyond time, and it's, so Damian is the leader of the League of Assassins, which was run by Ra's al Ghul, his grandfather, Talia al Ghul, his mother. Well, he's leading it now in the future. So there's this guy named Zero, and it's like ZEH-RO, so his name's spelled really weird. And he wants to, and essentially what Ra's al Ghul's idea was, before dying, was to put the world in an ice age to kill all the unworthy people and like all the animals that don't need to live, and be on Mars at that time, and then come back and put the world from there. So that's Zero tries to put that plan into motion. And so obviously Terry McGinnis is gonna have to stop it, because he's not gonna let the whole world be destroyed by an ice age. Then the second story is Terry arrives home from one night of fighting, and as he gets in, Bruce Wayne like snaps at him, thinking Terry McGinnis killed his parents, or like as a assassin to kill him. So Booster Gold arrives, tells Terry that his brother's dead and that there's a psychic seed planted in Bruce's head a long time ago, and they're gonna have to go stop it. So that happens, and there's a twist at the end, which is really good. So altogether, if you've read Batman Beyond, it's such a good series. So this just fits right in there with a solid 8 out of 10. And you don't need to really read that much Batman Beyond to catch up with it. You don't need to read, watch the show either. Like, maybe watch the first episode and you're pretty good on what's going on. All right. Next up, we got Uncanny X-Men, Lovelorn. This one was, I'm not a huge fan of the X-Men, and this was just another dose of that. So, essentially, it has Cyclops being Colossus being upset because either Kitty Pryde died at the time or broke up with him. I don't remember. So this guy from Colossus's past that's tormenting him, and Emma Frost is dealing with Cyclops because Cyclops has something going on. But then the story that was actually sort of decent in there was Beast was going to investigate these scientists to put an end to the mutant thing, because at this point Scarlet Witch said no more mutants and there was any more mutants being born and this and that and this and that. Well, eventually it culminates in a giant kaiju awakening, so that's really fun. It was written by Matt Fraction, who wrote the Hawkeye series, which was good. Final thing in here is an annual that follows Emma Frost's backstory, and, so it's a short book, it's really skinny, but all in all, this just doesn't feel like it has much in it at all, so I give it a 4 out of 10. It feels like a bridge more than anything. I don't think it's got much in it. Alright, next up we got 2 of a series, but we're going to do them one at a time. Teen Titans, Volume 2, The Rise of Aqualad. So, this has kind of 2 storylines because it goes 6, 7, and then 9 through 11. So, the first one is Aqualad being introduced and them going to having to fight King Shark because he did a prison break. Cool little story. Next up, we got 9 through 11, which is about Aqualad's dad, who his mom never met, and it was just this whole big thing, and you find out who his dad is, and that goes a lot of places. That one was really cool. This Teen Titans team is cool. You got Damian Wayne being the leader, you got Starfire, Raven, Aqualad, Kid Flash, Wally West, New 52 era, then you got Beast Boy. So it's a really fun team. It's a really good story, so I get this solid 8 out of 10. It's really good. You don't even have to read the first one. I mean, just pick this up. You'll get introduced to Aqualad and the characters. Next up, we got Teen Titans Volume 3, The Return of Kid Flash. So this one, I think, has 3 storylines in it. Yeah. So the first storyline is Robin's trying to recruit a new person because Kid Flash was fired, and Onomatopoeia's there, and eventually a giant tidal wave's coming. That's a cool little storyline. Kid Flash gets re-recruited. I mean, if you couldn't guess from the title being The Return of Kid Flash. Then the second thing is a little Christmas special. So it's a little Christmas special featuring the Ghost of Christmas Past. So it's a cute little story there. And then the final one is Beast Boy running away. I don't remember exactly why he runs away. I think because he can't be live streaming anymore or be who he is. Oh, it's because the tower was destroyed in Teen Titans versus Titans, and it was never rebuilt, so Beast Boy didn't feel like he had a home anymore, so he ran away. He meets this girl, and they talk, and she's doing this thing, and eventually, yeah. So this is really good. Both the Teen Titans are really good. If you see Teen Titans Rebirth era, pick it up. It's really good. I recommend it. Give it a solid 9 out of 10. Probably pick these up. They're really good. All right. Next up, we got Spider-Man, The Gauntlet, Juggernaut. So The Gauntlet was a series, a short little series where he was facing off against some of his foes. So you got The Gauntlet, the Lizard, The Gauntlet, Vulture, The Gauntlet, Electro. So this was Scorpion and Juggernaut's time. Scorpion's just not featured on the cover. A little disappointing because she's her storyline was better than Juggernaut's. So it's of course got two storylines in a reprint of the old first battle of Spider-Man versus Juggernaut in Amazing Spider-Man 229 and 230. So Scorpion one is he follows this person to like a like a sale, and they're selling the Scorpion suit. So that's a cool little story with the Scorpion. And the Juggernaut one is Juggernaut comes crashing down to Earth, and he's complaining that this blue and white guy supposedly beat him up. And if you know anything about blue and white people that can shoot really hard, you'll know who it is. So it's a new one of that. Eventually, you learn the reason that that person was chosen and what they have to do and why there's so many earthquakes in New York right now. And then, of course, the first battle of Spider-Man versus Juggernaut in ASM 229 to 230. So, all in all, this book was, it was boring, really. It was just, all that explains it was written by Dan Slott. So, yeah, it just felt like it dragged on a little too long. I felt like it could have been wrapped up a lot shorter and was needed and was spaced out a little too long. So all in all, I give it a 5 out of 10. The Gauntlet all is really good. It's just that one was kind of a letdown from the full Gauntlet. All right, next up, we got Hulk, Return to Planet Hulk. And Hulk here is Amadeus Cho. And I believe this was released around the time Thor Ragnarok was coming in. So it's got some major Thor Ragnarok vibes. So essentially what happens is Amadeus Cho is called to help Sakaar again. Or Sakaar. Is that? Yeah, it's Sakaar. And there's these people and they have 5 challenges, and if you beat all the challenges, then your guild that you're representing is given food for months and months and months, and it's given protection. So he goes and he protects it. Thor shows up at one point. It's a really good read. If you read the original Planet Hulk and you know what that's about, this feels like it's right in there. And it's really short. I got this done in 10, 20 minutes. It was really fun to read. And then it sets up, what's that series called? It sets up World War Hulk 2 and Infinity Countdown. Because throughout this, you can see Amadeus Cho fighting to let the Hulk out, all the rage and everything out, or to keep it in and be Amadeus but be weaker. So it's fighting between those two ideas. So this is a solid 8 out of 10. It was really easy and fun to read, so I quite enjoyed it. I guess, 8 out of 10. All right, next up we got Marvel Knights, Captain America. So Marvel Knights was, I believe, in 2000, 20 years ago. So 2002 was this one, but it was a 99 to 2005 thing, I think. And so it was a bunch of all-star creators coming and taking back some characters that weren't really at the top of their pinnacle at the moment. So it was Captain America, Black Widow, Black Panther, Fantastic Four, Daredevil, Punisher, Marvel Boy. It was people that not many people were really thinking of. So this was Captain America's, and this was one that was all about terrorism and 9/11 and the fallout from that. And this was really good. I'm not a huge fan of Captain America in general. Sure, he was great in the MCU, but besides that, not much. I mean, I may pick up his book and read it, but it's not one that I'm constantly hunting out for. But this was really good. And if you can ever find this, I recommend reading it. It's short, it's good, and it's a solid 9 out of 10. Pick this up if you can find it. Next up, we got Wonder Woman, Volume 8, The Dark Gods. So I was thinking it was going to be, when I picked this up off the shelf and read The Dark Gods, I was like, oh, so maybe it's going to be Ares or something, corrupt some other gods so they turn bad. No, it is the Dark Multiverse. But they did it well here. The Dark Gods I believe in death metal, Wonder Woman wished to, like, for the gods to return or something. I don't know. I didn't read death metal. It's not one I was especially excited for. So this is the fallout from that. All these dark gods come and invade Earth. Well, before they can, she gets teleported away to Star Sapphire, or to like the Star Sapphire Corps, the Green Lantern, the Pink Ring, I think it is? Yeah, pink. Yes. Violet Light, that's what it is, Violet. So she goes there, and there's one of the dark gods there, so she defends them, and she comes back to Earth and has to fight the others. So all in all, I don't read much Wonder Woman, but I think this was a great book, and I really enjoyed it. So I give it a solid 8 out of 10. Pick this up if you could see it, even if you haven't read any Wonder Woman. I didn't, and I still understood most of it. All right, next up we got 3 from the same series, but I'm going to do them one at a time. The Flash, Volume 3, Rogues Reloaded. So, The Flash is falling out from, is kind of like in the middle of what happened with Godspeed and that catastrophe. So this one's split into 2 storylines. The first is like, the rogues coming back and them being a big threat and what's happening, this and that and that. The second one is Wally West, the New 52 one, is looking for his dad. His dad was Reverse Flash, and he was recently went away from Iron Heights, like he was put somewhere else. Well, they go to like Amanda Waller's prison with Suicide Squad, but he ain't there. So then they have to go to Australia and talk to Captain Boomerang to see if he knows anything. And it's really tragic what happened to Reverse Flash, Wally West's dad. So I give this a solid. So the first story, the Rogue one, really kind of lackluster, but the second one, the Wally West story, pretty good. So all in all, it's a 7 out of 10. The first story, bad. Second story, good. That's why you read it. Next up, we got The Flash, Volume 5, Negative. So I think this Flash series was mostly meant to tie in with the TV series that was going on at the time on the CW, because this was another villain that was in that show. It was whatever his name was, the giant blood guy, So if you know who he is, you know kind of what the story is. So the main point of the story is right now the Flash has the negative speed force after fighting. All right, this is going to sound a little complicated. So Professor Zoom kidnapped Iris West and took her into the future. In the future, the Flash came, Wally West came, and it was a museum of the Flash, so Iris West figured out Barry Allen's identity. So they defeated Professor Zoom, but then Iris West Barry Allen got infected with the negative speed force, which was the opposite of the speed force, but he still can go fast. But instead of, it's complicated. It's whatever the writers want at the moment. And Iris West shot Reverse Flash in the head, killing him. So Iris and Barry really haven't been on talking terms after, she killed someone right in front of him. So this is Barry Allen dealing with the negative speed force, and he's solving a crime at that time. So someone has been stealing blood samples from the security lab. And there's also like a new person that's dealing with the Central City. It's a new crime boss. Well, you find out about the blood samples, the crime boss gets introduced in the next volume. And is there a second story in here? Oh yeah, the second story ties directly into what happens, so I'm not going to spoil that. So I give this book a solid 8 out of 10. It was really good, pretty good. Bloodwork's an interesting villain. All right, last up on The Flash is Flash, Volume 6, Cold Day in Hell. So, small spoilers for the last one. At the end of the last story, he gets put into Iron Heights, not like put in like as a criminal, but like as a security warden kind of thing. He's transferred there. So, at Iron Heights, someone is killed, and it's Barry Allen's job to figure out who it was. You also figure out who the new like crime boss in Central City is. But that's the second story. The first story is, so you know Mina, the girl that Barry Allen was dating that died at Godspeed's hand in the first volume? She's back. What's up with her? You'll find out. So that's essentially the only two main stories are those. Oh, no, never mind. There's an annual in here. And you know those annuals always bring a small taste of what's to come. So in this annual, it deals with Wally West, the original one, Wally West, the new one, and Barry Allen having to deal with their lives. So it essentially focuses on the original Wally West that came back. And he has to put his life back together after being in a whole new, essentially, universe that doesn't know him. And everyone he knows is not here or doesn't remember him. So he meets someone and they go crazy. So he has to deal with them from then on out. So that's just a really sad storyline. So this, all in all, including this single one, is an 8. Including the whole Flash series so far is a solid 8.5 out of 10. So if you see this Flash Rebirth, up to volume 6 at least, pick it up. It's really good. All right. Last up, we got the Suicide Squad, the Black Vault. So at this point, the Suicide Squad is Deadshot, Katana, Enchantress, Killer Croc, Captain Boomerang, and Harley Quinn. One of them dies, you know, it happens. They are called the Suicide Squad. So Katana and Rick Flag are the leaders that weren't really, you know, crazy and put into a criminal institution like they should have been. So they're the leaders that are kind of sane, but then they have to go into a Russian territory to get this Black Vault thing that's actually a villain in disguise. Which villain? You'll find out. And then afterwards, it has little case files on the characters and how they came to be. So you got a case file on like Captain Boomerang, Deadshot, Katana, and Harley Quinn. And Harley Quinn gets this little like solo co-op mission to see if she's actually responsible and careful and caring for her team. So all in all, this is a really good little story. It could be read within like 20-30 minutes. So I give it a solid 9 out of 10. Suicide Squad's pretty good. If you watch the movie, you know what I mean. All right, so that's all these 2 weeks. I hope you have a good time. Make sure to like, comment, share, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next 2 weeks. Bye.